Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting, good communication, and family relationship development all over the world through the lens of self-government. And in this video, I'm talking about how we ought to forgive and teaching children forgiveness too. In this video, I'm going to be sharing a story about a woman that I recently met and her problem with forgiveness and what it did to her. And then we're going to be talking about forgiving our children and what is entailed in that and how we can help them learn forgiveness too. I recently met a woman and her husband who had a hard time in their relationship with their children. In fact, they always were mentioning to me every time I would run into them that they felt like their children just kind of didn't like them, didn't share with them very many things, how they wished they had a better relationship with their children. And I thought about that. I thought, who doesn't want a better relationship with their children? But how sad is that this poor woman and her husband both feel like their relationships could be better. She said, they don't really talk to me about stuff. They don't tell me about their girlfriends, boyfriends. They don't tell me about a lot of stuff with school. They just kind of go along. And I thought, that's really sad because, my children tell me everything. In fact, I remember one time I said to Porter, "Oh, Porter, did you kiss that girl?" Because he was on a date. And he looked at me and he said, "No, Mom. I would have told you if I did." And I thought, oh, he's totally right. He totally would have told me. He tells me everything. They all have told me everything about love and everything because they know that I'm not going to get mad about anything. I'm not going to judge them for things that they've done. That's powerful. So how did we get to that place? Well, I constantly forgave them in my heart every single time that we would talk about something or I would hear them discuss something. I didn't take it personally. Now let's talk about this woman. So I got the opportunity to observe her in her regular communications with her children and her husband. And you know what I saw? I saw her judging all kinds of other people with her children. I saw her talking bad about neighbors, about TV people, about people that were driving, all this kind of stuff. I saw her judging them. I saw the husband judging them. So of course, naturally, the children assume they're going to be judged too. So if she would have just forgiven the drivers, if she would have just forgiven the neighbors, forgiven the dog, forgiven whoever it was that she was judging in the moment, the children would have learned a totally different lesson. And then of course, she needed to forgive the children too. I didn't see her in a ton of circumstances where she wasn't forgiving her children. I think she probably tried to, but the children weren't sure they could trust her to forgive them. So they didn't give her as much opportunity. They just closed off and stopped talking to Mom about things. So keep that in mind. We need to forgive everyone in front of our children and not judge people. And we need to forgive our children. So when they've done something, keep a calm face, voice, and body. Be okay with it. Tell them it's okay. Let's just talk about how to fix it for the future. Nothing, no action should be so bad that a parent can't forgive a child. We always can. So let's talk about how we can teach them forgiveness too. We're going to talk about forgiveness, but before we do, click that subscribe button now. There are so many videos on this channel all about self-government and increasing and improving your relationship with your children. You're not going to want to miss them. And while you're at it, click the notification bell too so that you don't miss the new videos when they come out. Number 2 is to teach the child to analyze instead of react. When a child learns to analyze instead of react, then they can learn to value people no matter what happens because they can separate a person's actions from who the person is. So we want them to analyze a situation, but not necessarily villainize a person. This makes it a lot easier to forgive someone. They do this by analyzing with the correction interactions that you have with them. So if you are regularly correcting your children and you are using a type of correction that involves analysis instead of emotionally reacting, then your child can learn to analyze situations too. And then when somebody does something something to them that they don't appreciate or that they don't think was a good thing, they don't have to take it personally. Instead, they can just analyze the situation, still value the person, which opens the door to them being able to forgive the other person. Let me explain what I'm talking about. So when a person is upset about something that someone's done, let's say a parent is going to get emotional and they correct a child, they might do something like, "Ugh, why do you do that every time? Stop it." Okay, so that's an attitude problem, just so you know, if you haven't seen one for a while. But also, that is manipulation. It's emotional manipulation that the parent is projecting on the child because the parent is feeling something emotionally. That's not going to solve a problem. It's going to put the child on the reactive and going to make the child feel like something has happened to them and they're not sure if that's safe. But if the parent does a correction like I teach to do corrections, which involves a lot of descriptions instead of reacting, then the child learns to analyze through those descriptions instead of get emotional and take things personally. So the parent would say something like, "Jeffrey, just now I gave you a no answer and you didn't look at me or keep a calm face, voice, and body. You didn't say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, and you didn't drop the subject because I see right now you're choosing to pout. When you do that, then you're choosing not to be very happy. And I want you to be able to be happy. I know you want to be happy too. So let's talk about what you should have done. You should have looked at me, kept a calm face, voice, and body, said okay, or asked to disagree appropriately, and then dropped the subject. Since you chose not to do that, then you've earned an extra chore, okay?" And then Jeffrey's going to say okay. Then there's some other practice time that happens on practicing things the right way as Jeffrey accepts his negative consequences and does proactive role plays with the parent. So do you notice the difference on the correction? How it feels very safe and connective, like it's okay, and it's very analytical and non-emotional. This is an important part too. So when I teach my children to analyze, the best thing to start with are the 4 basic skills. The 4 basic skill that we just talked about was accepting no answers and criticism, and that is taught in this book, Porter Earns a Quarter, or in my Teaching Self-Government Parenting course. But also there are the skills of following instructions, accepting consequences, and also disagreeing appropriately. When a person learns those 4 basic skills, not only does it take care of 99% of their behavioral problems, but it also helps them analyze every situation that they are in. Third, apologize to others. Many parents don't apologize when things don't go well, and they should. They should go to their child and say, "You know, a few minutes ago, I was doing a correction and I got really angry, and that was not the right way to handle it. I did not have a calm face, voice, and body, and so I am going to do that correction again. I am very sorry." Apologize. Apologize for not being the best version of you in a moment, and then fix it. This teaches the child that it is okay to mess up and to fix it, which is what forgiveness is all about. If they can forgive you in that moment because of your humility, then surely they can forgive somebody else because of their humble moment too. And sometimes even if someone else isn't being humble, they will just have developed the habit of humbly forgiving the other person. When my children were little, I taught them to sing a little song, and it was a little apology song. They would sing this little song about Jesus, and they would say, "Jesus said, love everyone, treat them kindly too. When your heart is filled with love, others will love you." And they would say that to each other after they had done something that wasn't very nice to each other, so that they could remember to apologize and forgive each other. So they would sing the song, say they were sorry, and then move on. Now, saying someone is sorry is not enough. They do need to fix the circumstance, and they do need to have a good condition of heart. Many parents will just have a child say they're sorry, and the child won't really be sorry. They'll be like, "Sorry," but they're not really sorry. That's not real forgiveness. That's just going through the motions. So it is much better if we make sure that the person has a calm face, voice, and body when they are choosing to say they are sorry. Number 4, teach children to drop the subject. So remember those 4 basic skills I talked about: following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately? In 3 of the 4 basic skills, there is a step that is called dropping the subject. It is the last step of 3 of those 4 basic skills. And it is powerful when a person chooses to just let something go, just drop the subject and not think about it again. Then that person is opening up the door to forgiveness. If we can just decide to move on and let the next moment be a new moment, then we can forgive that other person more easily. So as your child is learning the 4 basic skills, they're actually learning many of the things that they need to forgive another person and have a change of heart, even if someone has done something that was offensive to them. There are so many principles and skills to self-government. I want you to learn more. So I know that if you've loved this video, you'll probably love my next one, which is the not so known secret to parenting success. Click on the link to that video now and you'll learn more about the 4 basic skills, how to correct behaviors, and a whole lot more. I'll see you there.